Now, if you're like me, you'll have heard a lot about Kenny King, Waves Radio, and I have got the privilege of actually meeting Kenny King here this afternoon, and just to see the man behind Waves.
How are you doing?
The foyer, the entrance to
The foyer.
the foyer, where it all happens in Waves Radio.
This is the first thing you see. Yeah, all this, not me. I'm usually through there. You run out.
Tuning in.
Tuning in.
Is that the medium you still use today, Kenny? How old is this machine?
Oh, for me.
No, the
Oh, the
radio.
machine. Oh, it goes back. The last time I saw one like this was down at the Glasgow Transport Museum, and they have a street that they have various shops from way back, and this radio, one like this, was in the electrical shop that they had, so it's quite a unique little thing.
Brilliant.
It's not FM, it's just dollar wave band, long wave, short wave, brilliant stuff.
This man could speak about radio till the
Cows come home.
till the coos come home. Kenny, the background of Waves.
Well, a very interesting story. I wonder how much minutes we've got, but I suppose I should start back. My first recollection of radio was as a youngster, because I think everybody's parents in the Peterhead area had the big valve radios that they used to listen to the trawlers and the local fishermen. And there was one particular time I always remember as a youngster, I was off school, probably with the flu or something, was really bored, and turned on this big radio, and lo and behold, I was flicking through, and at those days it was the BBC that ruled the airwaves, and I think it was a BBC Home Service that I tuned into, and there was a play on there, and I always remember it was a play about a man in prison, and he was speaking in his cell, to his cell, you could basically say. And what happened was, while listening to this, I just thought, if everybody in Great Britain or the world is listening to this, their imagination is going to be completely different. They're all going to have a different image of what or where this guy is. Unlike TV, for example, you just sit there and watch it. And that was really my first recollection of radio. But then, it's funny, because listening to the trawlers speaking back and forth and things, little did I know that a few years later that I would be influenced with the boats in the North Sea, because along came Radio Caroline, and I was into music. My uncles in the family, they were all into music. They loved their Elvis Presley, the rock and roll stuff. I was a bit young for all that. But anyway, I was reading the music papers that I was heavily into, and saw an article about Radio Caroline that had arrived off the Essex coast, and tuned it in the ideal location in Peterhead, because the signal bounced right up the North Sea. So I was absolutely delighted. And before I knew it, I was listening to the likes of your Tony Blackburns, your Johnny Walkers, who is my hero even to this day, Emperor Roscoe, and all these people. And it wasn't long before there was something like 11 vessels lying, 11 radio stations, some from a ship, some from a forts, broadcasting, and I just found this completely fascinating. Not only listening to music, but also listening to the presenters, because this was really something different. Back in time, it was the BBC, and you didn't, I think you maybe got an hour of pop music if you were lucky. It was all live music. And the copyright people, of course, went berserk. The government went berserk. And before we knew it, they wanted to close the pirates down in 1967. And they all shut down apart from one, and that was Radio Caroline. And it was August the 14th, 1967. I'll always remember it, lying in my bed with a tear in my eye, because Johnny Walker was announcing to the listeners of Radio Caroline that they were going to defy the British government and they were going to continue broadcasting it. Radio Caroline belonged to us, the listeners, and nobody was going to take it away. And it was such a memorable moment for me, and not only me, there's a lot of people that are in radio nowadays need to thank Johnny Walker, because they probably were doing exactly the same as I was. little be known to me that I would eventually end up putting a radio station on in Peterhead, and that was due to the Peterhead Gala Week many years ago, famous Scottish Week, which is now coming up to its 60th year, which is incredible. Hard to believe that we ended up in a porta cabin in the beach 30 years ago, and well, we've been remembering that as well, and I can't believe I'm still sitting here and playing music to what I can only describe as a brilliant audience, because they've been absolutely superb. Lately, we've been going through bad times with the coronavirus, and it brings radio to the fore because people are locked in, yourself included. You were telling me that you've been self-isolating, you didn't get out so much, and people were turning to the radio. Unfortunately, on the downside, our advertisers were just diminishing very fast because they were closing down, and that put a lot of pressure on myself and the team here. But we decided we're going to crack on and see how we could get on with it. We're still here, we're still broadcasting, and we never lost, I think we lost 1 hour a week of our normal programming. But it's interesting to note, just recently I was looking at statistics just for online, that the monthly total for June of 2019, the connections that we got in June 2019 was 24,991. In June of 2020, it is now up to 42,168. And the listeners, the total number of hours that are listening to Waves Radio, and this is just online, this is without digital, without FM, back in June 2019, 25,006. For June 2020, 41,525. A phenomenal increase in listeners. But at the moment, we're still going through this. Will we survive? After all this, are we going to survive? The kindness of the listeners and some of the advertisers have been phenomenal, and we are getting through it slowly. I know that this is being viewed on a Doric sort of feel, and I want to take this Doric thing in because I'm born in this area and I'm proud of this area. I was proud when I put a radio station on, absolutely delighted. I'm proud of our listeners, and I'm proud of the people that have listened in over the years, and the people that supported it as well. Quite simply because we've now got people that were youngsters who were kids who have now grown up in the area, and their kids hopefully are listening to Waves Radio. The Doric thing for me, I remember when we weren't long on air, there was somebody phoned and asked to speak to me and said quite simply, why do you speak English? And then all of a sudden you get into, aye, for you day in a day. Well, this is our area. This is how we speak here. Nobody else ever did it. Before Waves came on, we had stations in Aberdeen, but the only time you probably get a mention was weather forecast or the occasional request. So getting Waves in Peterhead was something I dreamt about, and we got it. And the Doric thing for me has also helped me, because I remember another time, back to what I'm saying about that speaking Doric 1 minute, but then you have to remember we grew up like that. In schools, in the playground, we spoke, come on, give us a kick your bar, or whatever, and things like that, and let's chase the queens, pull their hair and things for a laugh. Then once you got into the classroom, it was yes, miss, no, miss. So it's unique in this area as well, because if you were living in England, you've just got a different dialect for the area, but this is Buchan and English put together. Doric has helped me in a couple of times. I remember 2 instances whilst running Waves Radio as a full-time radio station. One of them was the fact that there was somebody phoned here and asked if I would go live on an American radio station about Robbie Burns, a gentleman that only thing I knew was that he liked a drink and he liked his women. But apart from that, I wasn't very into Robbie Burns. So I managed to sit in this actual studio and speak live in a part of America, and I had a clue what I was talking about. They were asking me if I was going to have a dram. I don't drink whiskey. So I was a big letdown to them. The other instance I always remember with a laugh is a radio station just randomly picked Waves Radio to phone to see if we could help them out because they wanted a Scottish voice to do an advert for over in the States, I think it was in the Florida area, for a golf club. And I spoke to the guy and recommended places for him to go, and the guy says, well, just hold it there. Why? What's the matter? And he says, you're the man, you're the voice that we need. So I'd actually got to do an advert over, all because of the way I speak. So hey, if you belong to this area, be proud of your heritage. And well, that's just one or two pieces of history from me, Kenny King and Waves Radio, and I thank you for letting me on to do this, and I wish this particular venture all the best, because it keeps too many things are being lost, not only in Peterhead but right up and down the country. It's massive, and there's a lot of things I found out just this week by reminiscing. I wish I had taken more photographs and so on and so forth. So the memory goes, and it's a shame, really. Memories fade like people do, but they always stay with you. But it's fine to be able to look up a little bit of a photograph and things. So I wish this.
Or video.
Or a video. Yes, I forgot we're on video. I thought it was radio.
There's so much radio.
Yes. Anyway, you only asked me one question. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
Yes, Kenny, I just asked you one question.
I know, but that's
10 minutes later. Well, you are the perfect man for radio, Kenny, because you can speak. You can speak, and that's what radio is all about. Yeah, I'm video. So I'm presenting how we look. Yeah. You are presenting the sound, Kenny, but it's great mediums that we can use, and this connecting people, connecting places, and my YouTube venture, which is has got into the Doric Future website, and now we're going on to Doric TV. So, Kenny, what do you think of this Doric TV idea?
Right. Doric TV, you asked me what I thought about it off air. Well, as a radio man, I suppose it's difficult for me to support TV, but this is slightly different, because I really think it's important that the heritage can be seen, not only next week or the week after, but I believe that a lot of the footage, in fact most of the footage, is going to Aberdeen University, which is absolutely brilliant, and people can look back in years and years time to come and see. And I mean, I'm being quite honest here, Jill, you're doing a wonderful job. I've seen some of the stuff, and I really recommend that people take time. You've interviewed one or two people that I know, and well, they probably did a better job of it than I did, but I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to perhaps be seen in years and years to come. And keep up the good work, because I think it is important, not only for us, for the generations to come, but also for the area and just who we are in this big, wide, wonderful world. Thank you very much indeed.
Kenny, thank you very much indeed, and for giving us a great insight to Waves Radio.
You run out.
See you next time, Kenny. See you next time.
Bye-bye.